So today I want to touch on something I've been seeing a lot of people on social media asking other people. Why are my tomatoes rotting on the vine? There's two main reasons that I've had issues with, but one of the most common is blossom end rot. So blossom end rot is, yes, it is the lack of calcium in the plant. It means the calcium's not getting into the plant. And the bottom of that, your tomatoes, your peppers, and some of the other deadly nightshade plants will start to rot on the bottom. So once this happens, there's nothing you can do for that fruit. Go ahead and pull that fruit. If you like fried green tomatoes, have you some fried green tomatoes. But what people forget, because I see everybody on here, hey, you know, do this, do that, you'll get you a foliar spray. That will help. The foliar spray, calcium foliar spray will help far as the rest of the plant. But it's kind of a temporary. You need to find out, why is the calcium not getting to the plant? Is it in your soil, the lack of calcium in your soil, or is it just in the plant? Which most of the time it's due to a watering issue. Most of the time it's a watering issue, whether it's too much or not enough. And not enough is the most common out of those two. If you're overwatering it, what usually happens is you get root rot, and of course if your roots are rotting, you're not going to get calcium up to the plant. So that is why I ran an irrigation system in my garden. I have had issues with root rot even when I had an irrigation system, but I wasn't watering enough. This is I think 2 years ago. So now I try to water every day, which we've been getting a lot of rain like it is right now. It's starting to rain now. But this is the main thing, is you got to make sure you're watering enough. Don't water too much, and that varies on your soil. Sometimes you got to water once a day. Sometimes you got to water twice a day. All right, sorry about that. I had to move. It started to rain a little harder. So, where was I? Yes. So you need to make sure you're getting enough water, but not too much. There is a couple of things you can do as far as checking that. Amazon's got a bunch of different types, whether it's digital or manual gauge. That's going to allow you to probe to stick in the ground so that you can see how your moisture level is. Whether it's enough, not enough, too much. That's the easiest way. But like I said, you're going to see tons of people telling you to do all this stuff. Add more calcium, add more calcium. Well, you could have the calcium and not be getting it into the plant. That's most of the time, that's the issue. I see it all the time. How I stop that from it being in the soil is I always drop a little bone meal down the hole. You can also do eggshell, do a powdered eggshell. You can look on YouTube. There's lots of videos on how to do that. Don't just put a whole egg in there. That's not going to break down enough for that plant to use that calcium. Now, I know your grandparents probably did that, but they probably did it every year, so you constantly kept a good amount of calcium in the soil. But you dig that eggshell up at the end of the year, it's still going to be there. It's not going to eat it. When you put them in the oven and then you grind them up, you make a powder. Now that it's water soluble, you got some. It's going to break down. It's going to break down a lot easier now because you got really fine granules versus a whole entire eggshell. And the blossom end rot is going to be only on the bottom of the tomato or the plant, the pepper, whatever, only on the bottom. If you're getting it on top or on the sides, a lot of times that's sun scalding. If it's out in direct sunlight, and that's what I had an issue with last year. I lost my complete first batch of tomatoes to sun scalding. You'll start seeing almost like a faded spot on it. It's gonna be a little different, and then over time it'll start to rot on the vine. How I beat that was shade cloth. You can go get you shade cloth on Amazon or your local garden center. They have different ones, depends on your sunlight. I went with a 50%. I got a 50% shade cloth. You'll see this on a lot of greenhouses and stuff. Will put this over it summertime so it doesn't kill their plants. But I just want to let y'all know, because I've been seeing a lot of people having this issue with tomatoes, especially tomatoes. I have had it happen with peppers, sun scalding, and the blossom end rot. But yeah, like I said, it is a calcium deficiency. but check to make sure your water levels on that plant are correct. Make sure your soil is damp and not just saturated. We have clay here, so when it rains and you can dig a hole, it rains, that water sits in there for 2 or 3 days. So I have to adjust for that, because I do dig a hole and I put a different type of soil in the hole with my tomatoes, whatever I plant them in. Well, that water will sit in there, so I may not water for a day after it's rained, or even 2. It just depends. But like I said, the easiest thing is to go get you a probe from a local garden center or Amazon that tells you your moisture level. Do that and then see where you're at. Like I said, people will water on top. My soil, you can't just water on top and water your plants. That clay is a little harder to get through. So that's why I like a drip irrigation. It's a slow, steady drip. That way that moisture can get down to the plant. And that's another reason I dig so deep and put different soil. It allows that water to get down in there. But again, when it rains, sometimes it can be a little much. But I have plastic on mine, so again, it kind of helps a little bit as far as keeping all that under control. But yeah, so always check your soil for the moisture level. Like I said, sun scalding, same thing. Once it happens, you can try to put that that shade cloth over it and see how it does. That spot's not going to ripen properly. You might get some of it to come to, but most of the time you can just turn those into fried green tomatoes. Like I said, I lost a lot. I probably lost my first 30 tomatoes last year to sun scalding. But that's why I keep shade cloth on hand. But I just wanted to let y'all know. Take that information for what it is. And if you like this video, subscribe and like. Have a great day.